What's good? What's good? What's up, everyone? Hope everybody enjoyed the college football week 7 Saturday and enjoying their Sunday football, NFL football action, man. Of course, this is another installment of the Southern Baller Show. Of course, I am Jared O11 Green, and of course, I have my brothers with me. Of course, my right hand man, Coach 67 Sports TV. What's going on, man?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How y'all gentlemen doing this afternoon?
Cannot complain, man. Can't
Same,
complain.
bro.
Yeah, man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC, to all the brothers, man, and sisters. Uh, so we gonna go ahead and get started, man. There's no need to procrastinate. You know what I'm saying? Uh, let's go ahead and talk about the NCAA football Week 7 recap. All right, so and let me turn down this music. All right. So these is the games going into Saturday, or before Saturday, I should say. Starting off week 7, so it was Liberty versus Florida International. Liberty beat Florida International 31-24 in overtime. Jacksonville State beat New Mexico State 54-13. James Madison blew out their Sun Belt rival Coastal Carolina Chanticleers 39-7. Louisiana Tech beat Middle Tennessee 48-21. Western Kentucky beat UTEP 44-17. Arizona State beat Utah 27-16. I consider that an upset, fellas, man. A lot of people picked Cameron Rising to destroy the Arizona State Sun Devils secondary. That did not happen. Northwestern beat Maryland 37-10. UNLV beat Utah State 50-34. Oregon and Ohio State, which is the game we're going to talk about, part of our topic, uh, barely beat Ohio State 32-31. Their offense is very explosive. Penn State beat South Carolina USC's Trojans 33-30 in overtime. That was a very good game. Mississippi State falls to Georgia 41-31. Alabama squeaks by South Carolina, which is another topic we're going to talk about. But they get past South Carolina barely 27-25, which I predicted. I predicted them barely beating South Carolina. Shout out to Cadillac Red and the Supreme Beats Boxing Talk. Shout out to them brothers, KG and them brothers, man, 503, all them brothers.
The usual suspects, you dig?
Yeah, unusual suspects, yes, sir. Tennessee beat Florida 23-17, which surprised me. I thought Tennessee was going to blow out Florida because Florida did not impress me, but they let Florida hang with them, even take them to overtime. But Tennessee beat Florida State. Beat the Florida Gators 23-17 in overtime. LSU, another overtime game, beat Ole Miss 29-26. Clemson beat up Wake Forest 49-14. Notre Dame beat up Stanford 49-7. Iowa State, which they are undefeated for the first time in years, beat West Virginia 28-16. BYU beats Arizona 41-19. And this BYU team is dangerous. This BYU team is dangerous. Uh, Boise State beat Hawaii 28-7. And of course, Ashton Genty had another 200-yard game, 200-plus yard game on the ground. So he's definitely the front runner in the Heisman race. I know Travis Hunter, he injured, had to come out the game against Kansas State last night because he was injured. So that didn't help his Heisman race. But Ashton Genty is the front runner for the Heisman. Texas beat up Oklahoma. They got revenge from last year. They beat Oklahoma 34-3. Kansas State, which I was just talking about regarding the Travis Hunter. Kansas State beat Colorado 31-28. Very good game. Which I'm gonna stop here, fellas. And I know we're going over the scores, but what's going on, man? I understand that to me, Colorado feels that the ball is not in Shadour's hands 90% of the time, they cannot win, which is accurate. But they have to, and the gentleman that just joined our panel, Big Joe, Joseph Town, salute. We talked about this. You got to run the ball. Michael Welch only had 11 yards on the ground. Isaiah Augustine only had 11 yards on the ground. And I think Shadur Sanders had negative 50 yards on the ground because he was sacked multiple times. So the running game stills to be an issue for Colorado, which even though I picked them to edge out Kansas State, which I knew this is going to be a very losable game for them, but they could have won. Kansas State did not impress me, and I think Kansas State is one of the better teams in the Big 12. But starting with you, Coach, why isn't Colorado running the ball? I know the offensive line has having issues, but obviously you got to run the ball, and they're not doing it. What's your opinion on that?
Well, in many instances, when you have a bad offensive line and you feel like you're not getting any yards running the ball, some coaches, their philosophy, their ideology is to just not run the ball at all and just pass the ball more. However, the issue with that is you open up your quarterback to getting hit more often. I saw this one team that had, this was years ago. They had a excellent passing attack, but their running attack was just trash, right?
Right.
And the thing about it is, even as good as their passing game was, because I ain't gonna lie, even as a coach, I asked like, dang, why do they even attempt to run the ball? But the thing was, as I got more experience and I got older and I understood, the reason why they ran the ball was to keep that balance. In many instances, just say if you run the ball and you only get 1 yard per carry, and every time you pass the ball, you getting, 15 yards per pass. You want to keep it somewhat balanced, so those defensive linemen just can't tee off on your quarterback. And even if just straight running the ball is a problem, like it has been for Southern a good bit of the season. I don't want to jump ahead. I'm just using an example.
You good.
Sometimes you just want to have those rush attempts to keep the defense off your quarterback. And even if you don't, you have to some kind of way supplement that lack of a running game by having like a screen game, because that's one thing that was excellent when Drew Brees was the quarterback of the Saints. Their screen game was like phenomenal. Whether it was Reggie Bush or Darren Sproles or even Alvin Kamara, the screens to the running back out the backfield, the tunnel screens, the jailbreak screens, the bubble screens, all of those screens can be like the equivalent to a run. So honestly, even if you feel like your offensive line is not a good run blocking offensive line, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, you wanna, if you can't run the ball, you want to have something that's the equivalent to a run, whether that's a bubble screen, a tunnel screen, a jailbreak screen, whatever the case may be, or even a draw, a shovel pass, whatever the case may be. So, to be honest, I think from a play calling standpoint, whoever the offensive coordinator is, whoever making the final decision when it comes to the plays they're running, basically is them. And one thing I've said over the years, if you change coordinators and the head coach is the same, at the end of the day, it's still a coach. Because I remember at one point, I used to talk about, this was like in the 90s, how I'm like, man, Southern play calling is terrible. Pete Richardson was the head coach and Mark Orlando was the offensive coordinator. Mark Orlando left and David Oliver came in and he became the offensive coordinator, but they kept running the same plays. So, and then after a point, they got rid of David Oliver and they brought out Mark Orlando back. In that whole duration of time, the play calling was exactly the same. So at that point, it's not Mark Orlando, it's not David Oliver, it's Pete Richardson. So at this point, I'm not going to say it's an offensive coordinator, one particular person offensively. Hey, I'm going to say, I'm not going to call him Coach Prime no more. I'm not going to give him that amount of reverence. He's just Deion at this point. So I'm going to put it on Deion. It's Deion. It's on him. So maybe he wanted his son to drop back and throw the ball 1,000 times a game, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you got to point it. You got to point to the head coach. If you keep having this problem, like literally last year this time, I remember we were having episodes of this show, the Southern Baller Show, and we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about literally exact same thing a year ago. So at this point, it's on the head coach.
I agree. I definitely agree, man. And don't I understand Shador. Don't get it twisted. Shador Sanders is the best. I don't give a daggone. Shador Sanders is the best quarterback in the nation. In the nation. Yes, I said it. But you got to spread that ball around, and you got to be balanced. You got to run. I know that offensive line is not the best, but you got to like JB, you coach, and Big Joe. We've discussed in the past. You got to fool the defense. You can't be predictable. But on the other hand, Kansas State couldn't stop their passing attack. So I can understand that, but that rush, I think them trying to uh, use the rushing game or the running game more, um, it would have caused the defense to be more smarter the way they're because they were able to get sacks with just three down linemen.
Man, I ain't gonna lie. Anytime you able to have a 3-man rush and get and sack the quarterback, that's bad news. That's
Three and
always
four
bad news.
down linemen. Yeah,
That's bad news. 4, all
that's
right,
it.
cool. But 3, man, that's bad news.
Yeah, man. JB, what was your thoughts on the Kansas State and Colorado game? Kansas State winning 31-28.
At this point, bro, I'm tired of talking about it. Run the damn ball. Excuse me. I said I was gonna cuss. Run the ball. Look, man. DJ Hayden 7 yards carry. Augustine or Augustive, however you pronounce his name, 3 yards carrying the ball. Who is you fooling? And Shador wouldn't have gotten negative 50 yards because he's dropping back and holding the ball, waiting for receivers to get open. Because he reading high to low. He looking for the big play, and then reading low to throw it to the flat. It's just getting to the point where, like Coach said, it's Dion. You got to put your team, not your son, your team in a better position to win the game. You got to play complementary football. You run the ball. Them boys they got at running backs ain't trash. The boys they had last year was not trash.
Yeah.
I've seen teams being able to run the ball with trash O linemen. But hey, if look man, if they continue to do this, they're gonna lose games like continue to lose games like this, games that they should have won easily, but they want to just play pretty man football. But it is
Yeah.
what it is.
And to be honest with you, they defense didn't play well. I'm giving up long plays, especially that when they took over the score, they got the lead, and then Preston Hodge gave up a long pass to the wide
I
receiver.
don't want to hear that, man. I don't want to hear that, man. We man, look back in about what 06, oh 07. You remember Peyton Manning and them Indianapolis Colts teams?
Hmm.
Those defenses wasn't shut out. But if you know your defense ain't good, your offense can, help your defense out by, controlling the clock, running the ball.
Yeah, but the problem is I don't think they have faith in their offensive linemen to run the ball. That I think that's the main thing. What it is, but I'm with you. There's no excuse.
Nah,
Uh,
man, you can't convince me that they at O line is that trash, where they can't get. It's not that O line is not built. They didn't. They're not coached to go down hills and get 3 yards in the clouds. Done. It's a finesse offense, but it is what it is.
okay, and Big Joe, welcome to the show. Um,
Salute, Big Joe.
what do you think about the Colorado game, man?
Salute to the family. How y'all doing on this Sunday?
We blessed, bro.
Blessed and highly
What's up,
favored, bro.
town?
Blessed
What's
and
up?
highly
What's up,
favored.
family? My thoughts on the game or a certain topic, bro? Just the game overall.
The game overall, Cook.
Um, well, like somebody said, heard somebody say when Colorado plays, it's always gonna be an interesting game. It's gonna be a high blood pressure. You're gonna be sitting there you're gonna be up late, especially if you're not on the West Coast. And they're gonna definitely gonna keep you upset and keep you happy. Either way, you're gonna go through a array of emotions when you're watching Colorado football. Um, I mean, we've been talking about this for a while. The rushing. It's not that Colorado's incapable of rushing the ball; they just choose not to. They when they played against UCF, they ran the ball had over 128 yards. When they play other teams, they have 91 yards, 115, so they can run the ball. But a lot of times when Colorado plays, they just get whoever's calling the plays or whoever's telling the play caller to call the plays, they're getting caught up in the cute shit. Instead of running the ball, they'll throw a quick swing pass. I hate those plays, by the way. Them quick swing passes, they don't
Me
work for
too.
nothing. I don't know why they keep doing it. So instead of running the ball, we're gonna throw a quick swing pass to Travis or a quick swing pass to Shepard, Wester, or Miller, and don't none of them work. Instead of you doing that, you can throw screens, but again, you got to run the ball to set up the screen. And like the brother was saying, the whole purpose of running the ball is to bring everybody down. Everybody knows y'all gonna throw it. The safety is gonna sit back. The corners are gonna not press. The linebackers are gonna fall back. You want to run the ball so everybody comes forward. As a D lineman, I'll rather rush the pass than play run. I'm just being 100 with you. No, ain't no lineman trying to play run all game. Nobody. As we see with Kansas State, with them running the ball, them D linemen was tired. The linebackers were tired.
Mm-hmm.
Shiloh got his draw shaking off. You know what I mean? Obviously this was his first game back. You know, and he went up against you
Gideon.
DJ
Yeah,
Giddens.
Gideon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He gonna be in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He gonna be in the league. So Shiloh, you probably gonna see him again. But that's a NFL prototype running back. You hit him, you want to wrap up, you want to have balance. There was a lot of missed tackles yesterday. A lot of missed tackles. So
Yes.
I'm not gonna say them running the balls while they lost. It was a whole lot of stuff. But the defense, they struggled, but they still got 4 sacks. I mean, they got an interception. So they showed up at times to help the offense win. But Shador throwing that pick, in the red zone area, that ain't help either. So, and then when they get up by 4, number 24, the cornerback getting burnt for a touchdown, that ain't help either. So they're just not a team yet that's ready to grasp a victory when it's right there. Kansas State was the number 18th ranked team in the nation. I was not fully impressed with them.
Me neither.
Colorado was down 4 receivers and their best player went on the team, and they still almost lost. So Colorado is right there, but we can't minimize them not having Travis Hunter. The Travis Hunter was on the field. I think sub number 24 getting burnt. Travis Hunter would have been right there, and he might have picked it off like he did the several
I
other
said
games that he
I
played.
said the same
So
thing. I said the same
you
thing.
know, so he's important, and the other 3 wide receivers were important. But Colorado running the ball, not running the ball, this ain't nothing new. The old line struggling, this ain't nothing new. Shador Sanders holding the ball, trying to be the hero, that ain't nothing new either. When I saw him boot out into the DN, I'm like, okay, well, yeah. All right,
Oh,
well, I mean, you literally boot, your tackle is pushing him up, and you boot right into him. I mean, what the tackle supposed to do?
and,
He
and,
did
and
his
where
job. His
that
job
come
as an
from?
old lineman, huh?
And you know where that come from, Big Joe? Didn't mean to cut you off because you made a good point. Him booting into the damn sack. That's not
Yeah.
happening, and rightfully so. Not having faith in your offensive line.
Oh, I mean, you ain't gotta have faith. I mean, you can just ain't no wrong with throwing the ball away. I understand that
Right.
they have I understand they got phenomenal wide receivers. They like throwing deep balls and whatnot, but you don't have the old line where you got 6, 7 seconds to wait for play to develop. You have a 2.5, 3 second old line. Ain't nothing wrong with no crossing routes. Ain't nothing wrong with no rub routes. Ain't nothing wrong with them. Everything don't have to be deep because you don't have an old line that give you that kind of time. But then when your old line give you that kind of time, you throw a pick in the end zone. So again, we just have a team that's just still growing, still maturing. But as of right now, I believe they have the pieces to be a bowl to at least go to a bowl game. Like the
I
Holiday
do.
Bowl or the
Mm-hmm.
Geico Bowl. One of them joints. Capri Sun Bowl. They probably can do something like that. But it was a tough fought game. Both teams played. As even though Colorado lost, Dion got to be happy to see that his players showed up and they played hard. I ain't see nobody quitting. Some players are just not ready yet. And that's the whole point I said earlier before the season started. Can Dion and the coaching staff, can they develop players? Can they have them grow during the season? And some of them are just not ready yet.
That's a good point. That's a good point. And to be honest, to be fair, man, they look. They even though some problems, the same problems of last year, still rearing its ugly head. They're a way better squad than last year. If they would have played this Kansas State team with the squad they had last year, the score would probably been 55-0, something like that. So that's one thing I can say. They did get better a little bit, but it's the same issue, not running the ball. So, and other issues, but you're so right. You're so right. Um, but let me shout out to the family, man. That came in, show us love, man. Brother Jay Good, salute. Soul Power, aka Gamed Up Kennels. He said, salute, good brother. Thank you, man. Thank you. Autism Boy, man. He said, sup, Jared 11 Green. Thank you, man. And my bad. I thought that Cowboys and Lions game was gonna be kind of competitive. I was wrong. Lions are up 17-3, unless the score didn't change. My
23 now.
dang. Big Reg, host of Big Boy Talk. Salute, man. I hope you continue doing content, brother. You have good shows, man. Y'all support that brother, man. Once he start doing shows again. Mr. Shelton, here we go. 2 words, Brock Purdy. Okay. Because they got that little win last week. Autism Boy said, he asked me a question. He said, are the Michigan college football team overrated? Yes, this squad is. And to be honest with you, they would mask a lot of that if they had a consistent quarterback. But they ain't got no quarterback. But let me continue with the recap, fellas. So Missouri blows out UMass 45-3. Pittsburgh beats California 17-15. Illinois in overtime beats Purdue 50-49. No defense that game.
No defense. That's JV basketball numbers.
For real. Army continues their undefeated streak, beating UAB, University of Alabama Birmingham 44-10.
Boy, Trent Dilfer gone.
Dang, he just got there. JB,
and don't forget UAB. They got what's that boy? They got Kidna Son over there. Ain't he get kicked out of Florida for having child pornography and trying to distribute it and whatnot? And Trent Dilfer brought him over there and all that. Hey, leave it at that.
Man, Trent was talking to coaches crazy on the sideline last year. Now, I guess he need to talk to him harder or something. Cause
yeah, it's not looking good for the Blazers, man. Buffalo beats Toledo 30-15. Iowa beats Washington 40-16. That I ain't gonna lie, I picked Washington to beat Iowa, but them, you know how them Iowa they up and down. They can beat a ranked team then lose to a non-ranked team. But they beat Washington 40-16. Same Washington that beat Michigan. Ball State beats Kent State 37-35. Good game. And Georgia Tech beats North Carolina Tar Heels 41-34 in a disappointing game. I gotta tell you guys about this game, man. We tied the game with a few seconds left. 34-34. And we let Jamal Haynes. All we had to do was stop them
right up the middle.
Yeah.
Right up the middle.
And Jamal Haynes just run, all we had to do was hold off until overtime. Hold him up right up the middle for what was 68 yards or something like that to the house.
Yeah, man. HB died.
No gap integrity at all. Moving on, Wisconsin beats Rutgers 42-7. Miami of Ohio beats Eastern Michigan 38-14. Northern Illinois beats Bowling Green 17-7. San Jose State loses to Colorado State 31-24. Old Dominion beats Georgia State 21-14. Memphis beats South Florida 21-3. Cincinnati holds off to beat University of Central Florida 19-13. Louisville holds off Virginia 24-20. Akron falls to Western Michigan 34-24. San Diego State beats Wyoming 27-24. Ohio beats Central Michigan 27-25. And that's those are Ohio Bobcats, by the way. University of Louisiana Monroe beats Southern Miss 38-21. North Texas Mean Green beats Florida Atlantic Owls 41-37. Washington State beats Fresno State 25-17. Air Force loses to New Mexico 52-37. Rice hangs in there against the University of Texas San Antonio 29-27. Texas State Bobcats beats the brakes off of Arkansas State 41-9. Louisiana Lafayette beats
Lafayette.
Lafayette, thank you.
All right.
34-24. I don't know that team down there.
Coach gonna get you together now.
Yeah.
He got
anything in the boot, he gonna get you together.
yes, Lord. Yeah. Yes, Lord. Anything down in Louisiana, he gonna correct me, and that's why I got him. He 34-24. The Raging Cajun, Nevada. What? Nevada beats Oregon State 42-37. That's upset like heck.
Oregon State ain't been good for a long time, so
I know, but still, they shouldn't let no Nevada beat them, even in their worst.
They won good last year when our boy was there. We know who we talking about. Throwing Samoan, right? Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, DJ.
Y'all leave DJ alone, man. He going through a lot right now.
Man, he better tell that defense whoever they playing against, leave him alone. I ain't got nothing to do with it.
For real. Vanderbilt still on the road against SEC teams, man. They beat Kentucky 2013.
Ooh.
So Vanderbilt ain't playing. Diego Pavia still doing his thing.
Vanderbilt beat Kentucky?
Mm-hmm.
Ah!
Yes, they did. Georgia Southern beats Marshall 24-23. Syracuse puts North Carolina State in their place 24-17. Minnesota beats UCLA 21-17. Minnesota.
UCLA only won like one game this year. Eric Bieniemy's the coordinator. They got a black head coach. What the?
Yep, Deshaun Foster, former Carolina Panthers running back, all-time great.
Yeah, they might not make it through the year.
Yeah, they might. Yes, it was Big Red, and I called it. I knew Bama was gonna struggle with South Carolina, because South Carolina, don't let the record fool you. They got some dogs on both sides of the ball. Yeah, but we're gonna cook on that game though. We got to, because South Carolina had that game. Alabama, yeah, South Carolina let Bama off the hook. But before we go into that topic, we're gonna go into the HBCU ball. So we're gonna, of course, go over our HBCU recap real fast. So Arkansas Pine Bluff upsets Prairie View A&M 21-17. The running game, Arkansas Pine Bluff running game is underrated, and their quarterback Makai Hagan did his thing.
I like that dude, man. I like him. I like that dude, man. He's a ball.
Yeah, he's a baller. Howard beat Sacred Heart 21-14. North Carolina Central beat the brakes off of Virginia Lynchburg 68-0. Towson
Damn.
craw- yeah, Towson crawls out of a knockout drug out fight against Norfolk State 28-26.
That's
North
right.
Norfolk State ain't nothing like they've been losing, but they ain't no easy way. They haven't been getting blown out like they have in the past. Um, Merrimack beats Morgan State 32-24. Robert Morris blows out Delaware State 23-0. Really? I picked Delaware State to win. Um, Alabama A&M, and shout out to the brothers down south football. I was on their show, I think Thursday or Friday, but I called in and brother Dave, he said he was gonna blow. His Bulldogs were gonna blow out Bethune Cookman. And they did 56-12. Yeah, Bethune Cookman having a rough go of it. Uh, and speaking of people struggling, Mississippi
Oh,
Valley,
oh.
man.
Bethune Cookman struggling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that sound like they need that read down there, don't they? Oh, that's right. They
Oh,
didn't need him. Never mind.
Oh no, no, no,
that,
no, no. I think the Storm kind of they was down emotion. I think they've been getting rabbids by the Storm too. You know what I'm saying? So they got stuff off the field to deal with too.
that's true.
Did it have
But
off-field stuff to do with last year too?
Well, you got me on that one, Big Joe.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't have no
okay, this
report for that
checking.
one, bro.
Oh, I'm just asking. I'm just asking a question, brother. I don't know
Look,
nothing. I don't know.
hey, you got me
What
on
what
that one,
what
bro.
what they say in the first Bad Boys movie? Jojo
oh
don't know
snap!
nothing. I don't know nothing. You dig what I'm saying? I'm just asking.
Well, I can tell you, Ed Reed wasn't the answer. I can tell you that much, though.
Well, it look like ain't nobody answer over there, huh?
Well, that's true too.
Keep cooking.
Hold on. Oh snap! But Alabama State blows out Mississippi Valley 54-17. Valley, like I said, man, they just I think that the head coach they have right now, uh, if he hates, they keep him, man. If they don't fire him, he'll get that squad together. Give him a couple of years, man. Kendrick
You
Wade.
said that last year, Jerry.
Kendrick Wade took the job what last year or the year before last, so he ain't been there long. So just give him time. Um,
Yeah, they gonna give him time, all right. Time to pack his bag.
dang, yeah. Well, I mean, they got a coach to reconstruct that team. They'll be stupid to fire him, in my opinion. Um, Alcorn State gets past Grambling State 17-15. I picked Grambling, but Alcorn State made me eat crow, man. Shout out to those Braves, man. Like I said, the Wild Wild West. Tennessee State blows out Eastern Illinois 41-17.
Let's go, Eddie George.
Go ahead, Coach Eddie George. Go ahead. And shout out to, even though he's still coon, but shout out to Stephen A. Smith and them having Tennessee State and Eddie George on their show. That's the only thing I'm gonna give them. But
Buck Dancing Coon will be more appropriate, though.
all that.
Damn.
But
And then they hired Cam Newton too, so I guess that's a plus.
Well, they added him to get rid of that Buck Dancing bed wench, Kimberly A. Martin, that was hating on him. So I guess I'll give him a 0.5, for that.
Dang, coach. Leave somebody
What
alive.
what once she married to a, you know what? Never mind. I ain't gonna say
Oh no, you said it.
nothing.
That's why I called that big one.
Oh, okay. This check. What's that girl who worked for ESPN who messing with her co-worker and he happened to be
Oh, you talking
white
about
too? Ain't
Malika
that
Andrews? Malika
yeah?
Andrews?
Ain't that against policy and conduct? And never mind. Let me go ahead. Never.
Well, they all floating in the same boat, you know. They use them as puppets to get on ESPN and talk down on the brothers, but they don't date the brothers, if you know what I mean.
It's funny how she can talk about football, but Cam Newton can't. It's funny how that worked.
Well, I
Dang.
guess it worked the opposite way now. They got him now, so
Well, I guess she can talk football to her husband when she at home. All right, go ahead.
Well, salute to Anthony Bolton, man. And Stephen A. Smith worked for ESPN. I know, man. I didn't want to say the show or the network. But and finally, Southern avoids upset against Texas Southern, beating them in overtime 22-19. Now, coach, I understand your Southern Jaguars are struggling
Mm,
and having
mm,
quarterback issues. But
mm.
that Texas Southern game was a little bit too close for me. I know y'all not that bad.
Let's go,
well,
coach.
well,
Break it
first,
down, baby. Break it down, baby.
well, first and foremost, struggling is an understatement. Quarterback issues is another understatement. Southern is struggling like some dogs at this point. Quarterback issues. I think that'll be a bit of an understatement. I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't care what nobody say. Noah is a trash quarterback as far as I'm concerned. Years ago, Southern University had this white quarterback named Marcus Jacoby. They won a SWAC championship. They went to the Celebration Bowl. Now it's the Heritage Bowl then. And a lot of people was like, "Well, I think y'all just hating on him because he white." No, we was hating on him because he was trash. If he wouldn't have had an excellent defense and an excellent running game to carry, behind, he'll probably be the worst quarterback I saw at Southern. But at this point, I'm gonna be truthful. I think Harold Blood surpassed him, and I think Noah surpassed him this year. That's how bad Noah is. And Xavier and ZT said he a redshirt freshman. He coming off an injury. He got injured in the Boombox Classic against Jackson State. So I'll give him a little grace. But just like in the spring game, the first play he got and he threw the ball, he threw a pick six. At least in the spring game, it really didn't count for nothing. And the DB was caught on the 2 yard line. He actually ran it back for a touchdown. So, you got to give Texas Southern some credit. Chris Dishman, he got the program moving, I think, in the right direction, even though I think Andre Johnson, Fred McNair, either one of them two would have been a better choice than Chris Dishman. But nevertheless, the reason why they went with Chris Dishman was because he's the best of both worlds. Andre Johnson actually played in the NFL and was a Pro Bowler for the Houston Texans. Fred McNair actually won SWAC championships, but Chris Dishman, even though he might not have had head coaching experience on the college level, he was a Pro Bowl DB for the Houston Oilers back in the gap, and he had some coaching experience. So he was like the best of both worlds. So, you got to give Chris Dishman and Texas Southern some credit. They got some grit to them. They're a scrappy team. They fight hard. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be truthful. It's no way that game should have went into overtime. Just like the irony of the whole situation is yesterday, Southern kicked a field goal. Joshua Griffin kicked a field goal to beat them 22-19. Last year, they was down by, I think they was down by like with 10 points with like, a small amount of time left. Kelby Givens knocked down the pad. No, I think Taj Brown forced the fumble. Kelby Givens picked it up, ran it back for a touchdown. Then Southern defense got a stop. And then after that, the irony of it is, last year Joshua Griffin kicked a 54-yard field goal to send the game in overtime. And once it got in overtime, Southern won. And basically, the same way they got lucky last year, they got lucky again yesterday. But the problem with Southern is if you keep playing close to the edge, eventually you're going to fall off the edge. They got homecoming this week. coming up with Alcorn State. The rest of the way, they're only playing SWAC games. The good thing for Southern is the SWAC West is trash. The bad thing about it is if they keep playing like this, Uh, they won't make it too far because you got to play better than that against Alcorn State. Got to play better than that against FAMU. The schedule gonna start to get tougher. Things gonna start to pick up. So they need to get it in gear. I'm gonna be truthful. I'm at the point now where, you know, I know they got some of the same issues they had last year with with Eric Dooley, but it's at the point now where some of these issues you really can't blame on Terrence Graves. Some of them you could, but I think most so you got to go to athletic director Roma Banks. Uh, Southern's athletic program and sports program is mediocre. You know, we appreciate Roma Banks for what he did in terms of bringing Southern University basketball team to the NCAA tournament and nearly beat Gonzaga in 2013. But hell, that was the last time Southern won a SWAC championship in football. It's time to get rid of him and go in a different direction because as the AD, as far as I'm concerned at this point, he trashed. He living on what he did 10 years ago, and it's time to go in a different direction.
You heard it from the Southern man himself, Mr. Southern himself. Other game I want to talk about real fast is the game that JB actually was impressed with. The Makai Hagan, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff upset Prairie View A&M. It was a very good game, especially Makai Hagan.
I don't
put
mean
the
to cut
team.
y'all, bro. I wouldn't
Mhm.
consider it. I wouldn't consider it an upset because if anybody losing the SWAC West, the SWAC West is anybody could beat anybody. So I wouldn't consider it no upset to be
I
real with you.
understand that. The reason why I say it's an upset because everybody and their mama picked Prairie View A&M to beat Pine Bluff. 'Cause Pine Bluff.
I did too, but guess what? I mean, you know, 1 week you up. Just think about it. They beat Grambling in overtime. They lose to Southern in overtime. It's the SWAC West. Anybody could beat anybody
You're
on
right.
any given Saturday. You know, so I would
You're
consider
right.
it no
But
upset.
I'm just going off of the um the perception. Everybody thought Pine Bluff was gonna be ran through this game, so that's why I said it's an upset. But me and you both know the West is wide open. Me and you know that, but a lot of people thought Pine Bluff didn't have a chance. But to move on, JB, what did you think about this game? You actually watching it? Of course, like what Code 67 Sports TV. Technically, if you know the history of the west side of the SWAC, it wasn't really a upset, but technically it was because everybody picked Prairie View A&M to win. But what did you think about the game?
I think Pine Bluff reminds me of that South Carolina state team where they had that wide receiver and quarterback match. And they had like what was her name, Shaq Davis or something like that.
Yeah,
They got a real good receiver over there and a quarterback that can launch it, and a receiver just can go get it. They too pass happy for me. They were getting just like it's no different than HBCUs and with the PWIs schools. Too much passing when they should be running. Like Big Joe said, there's no reason why you should be throwing the ball uh, uh, to the running back on the other side of the field when it's 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1. You know what I'm saying? So
mm,
I'm old school. If you can't get 2 yards or 1 yard, then more than likely you don't deserve to win the game. But it was a good game. I enjoyed it. Prairie View, they always got some good weapons offensively, but they struggled defensively, especially in the secondary. But hey, that was a good. I think that game happened Friday, right? That game was Friday, right?
No, I think it was Saturday. No, hold on.
No,
Let me see.
No, it was Friday. It was Friday.
Yeah, it was Friday
Yeah,
night.
so
You
that
talking about it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, it
that
was.
was man, that was a good, you know, like a dessert. The finish off the night, and
Hmm.
refreshing just to end your day Friday night with football, man. It was wonderful.
I agree, man. It was a good game, and the wide receiver number 11 you was talking about that was um torching their defense, Pine Bluff defense. His name was Giovanni Gibson, number 11.
Yeah, he gonna be a problem.
But coach, what did you think about the game?
Of course, I was just getting back from the Friday night game, Louisiana All American Sports Network. Shout out to Louisiana All American Sports Network. But at the end of the day, I mean, to me, it's a typical swag game. You don't know what to expect. You know, Jackson State smacks Southern one week, and then they lose to Grambling the next week. Prairie View lose to Southern one week, and then they beat Grambling in overtime the next week. So when it comes to the SWACs, you just got some good solid football. But when it comes to who you think gonna win this game, who you gonna think that gonna win that game, when it comes to SWAC West in particular, everything is unknown. I think things are a little bit more stable in the East. But even with that being said, J State, they dropped the game to Grambling that you wouldn't expect it. So at the end of the day, I think when it comes to the SWAC, you're gonna get some good football. But you don't know who's gonna win on any given Saturday.
That's facts. That's facts. And the two running backs that were tearing things up for Arkansas Pine Bluff was number 24 B.J. Curry and number 35 is Marion Weber. They were was able to eat up yards on the ground to open up pass yards or the passing lanes for Giovanni Gibson. So
You
shout out
hear that, Colorado?
facts. Big Joe, what did you think about the game, the Pine Bluff and Prairie View A&M game?
I thought that was a very good game. Um, um, my dad's from Prairie View. My dad's an alumni there and everything. My dad was there when Jim Brown and Muhammad Ali used to come and do college tours and talk to
Okay.
people. I mean, so we
Man,
watching the
shout out to
game and
Pops, man.
you think what I'm saying? My dad's a Panther and a Black Panther in real life. But yeah, I thought it was a very
Mm.
competitive game. I thought that Prairie View was gonna win the game, but they kept making mistakes. And Pine Bluff, they got a really good quarterback. I mean, he should have been sacked several times, but he's a very athletic kid, and he's able to escape the pocket and keep stuff going. So shout out to Pine Bluff. You know, I know Prairie View was the favorite. I know Coach was saying that anything can happen, but I know Prairie View was the favorite. That's who all announced and everybody was talking about. But if you can't run the ball and you can't capitalize on mistakes, you're not gonna win. So even though it hurt my heart for the Panthers to lose, it was a very competitive game. Shout out to Pine Bluff for coming back and winning.
Shout out, man.
Oh, I got a question for y'all whenever y'all ready.
Ask
Actually,
away, brother.
my dad has a question. So again, my dad went to an HBCU black wing. It was literally all blacks at the school, black everything. Everybody over there was black. So my dad says, when did they start having Hispanic folks be kickers and placeholders? Most we see a lot of HBCU teams. Most of their kickers are either white or Hispanics. My dad was wondering what happened and why is that seem to be a phenomenon now. Same thing
Well,
happened with Jackson State, and and when Prime was there, hell, they even had the band leader was a Spanish brother. So my dad was just wondering what's going on. Black folks can't kick. I know black folks play soccer. So my dad was just curious.
let me answer that one for Pops, and of course, salute and shout out to Pops. Um,
Salute and happy birthday.
yeah, happy birthday. Going back
Happy
to the
birthday, Pop.
going back to the '90s, I could remember like Southern having We talking about like mid-90s when Southern was winning, SWAC championships, going to Heritage Bowl. Like they really didn't have black kickers. It was like a white punter, white kicker, Hispanic kicker. They had this one Hispanic kicker. His last name was Diaz. I can't remember his first name. Man, I don't know. Evidently, I don't know what his financial situation was. Clearly, he was on scholarship, but evidently, he didn't get a dental plan. Man, his teeth was jacked up. You know what I'm saying? But really, outside of like this one kicker, outside of this one kicker for Southern and Carlos Leach, I'll probably say outside of Southern's current kicker, Joshua Griffin, he probably like the best kicker I ever see come through Southern. But even if you look at like outside of him, like a lot of Southern kickers were white or Hispanic, and even the punter, like the best Southern punter I remember was a white punter. So of course, in many instances, like this punter Matt Bussard, the thing with him is he went to a predominantly black school in high school. So when he got to Southern's campus, unlike the quarterback that I told you was like the worst quarterback at the time that I saw for Southern, this white quarterback named Marcus Jacoby. Unlike Marcus Jacoby, he understood the differences in culture. That's why Bus Hart and some of these other white guys that was on Southern team at the time, they were able to fit in better. But I mean, Southern at that time, they had white kickers, Hispanic kickers, white punters. Of course, I hate to say it, it's more prevalent now where you have, Southern to have uh, like maybe like last year with Mr. Golden Foot, they had a black kick and a black punter and a black holder. Like I was like the first time I can remember that being the case in a while. So it's more prevalent now. I know a lot of people start to notice it because of Coach Prime, but I'm not gonna lie, bro. It's going back to the 90s where you will see in the SWAC, you will see a white punter, a white kicker, Hispanic holder, Hispanic kicker, whatever the case may be. So yeah, tell Pops, this kind of going back to the 90s.
Didn't Jackson State have a female kicker too, for like a game or something?
Jackson State, I think
That
they
might
Yeah.
did.
that might have been, I don't recall that. That might have been a Coach Prime thing. Because I'm not gonna lie, the gift and the curse that was Coach Prime is a lot of people, a lot of stuff that was popping in the SWAC before Coach Prime was even thought of. I'm talking about in real life. They make it seem like, oh, it's ditches because of Coach Prime. That's why I kind of, I knew he just was going to use Jackson State as a stepping stone to a PWI Power 5 job. But a lot of stuff he did is like, whatever he did, it got glorified and magnified to the nth degree. And like, it was the best thing since sliced bread. So I'm going to be truthful. That might have been a Coach Prime thing. If it was a thing, I can't speak to it for certain. But a lot of things he did was just like commonplace things in the SWAC. But they made it seem like because he had Jackson State, now all of a sudden the SWAC, even though the SWAC been here for I don't know how long, some of these schools been here since the late 1800s. Like the SWAC just came in existence when Coach Prime came, and which is not the case. That's the thing I hated, but the Coach Prime effect.
Okay, yeah. And that female kicker was like last year, 2023. Um, this is like after Coach Prime left, of course. But
Well, maybe, but I don't know. I don't think it was a thing for a while. For a prolonged period of time. It might have been.
no, it wasn't. It was just a one thing last year.
Did she get a scholarship or not?
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I guess it's some unnecessary roughness type thing. For y'all people that saw the movie
I think
Unnecessary Roughness, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, then don't worry about it.
I think from I remember, I think she played. I think she was on the soccer team, and then they asked her to kick. I think she had like a knee injury or something, but they asked her to kick, and then she only kicked in like one game. So but
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah,
remember.
exactly. And for me to answer Pop's question, because I'm younger than Coach. From my experience, um, a lot of the kickers that were Hispanic played soccer. So none of the bros play soccer like that. You had every now and then, a sprinkle, but the black dudes that did play soccer, you know what I mean, like African and Haitian, Mambuto and them. But it was no bruhs in the hood. You feel me? So in my generation, I'm speaking for my generation. So that's why a lot of the kickers were like Hispanic.
And white.
Well,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I ain't gonna lie to me. I feel like at a certain point, you know, I love Coach Richardson, but I'm gonna call a speed a speed. I think, for Southern in particular in the '90s, I think a lot of times, I think that was the reason why he even started like Marcus Jacoby at quarterback, because there's no way Marcus Jacoby was better than Lionel Hayes and Sam George. Lionel Hayes ended up becoming the starting quarterback at Grambling, and Sam George ended up becoming the starting quarterback like a couple of years later. I think a lot of times he did that with the white punter and Hispanic kicker and the white quarterback. I think he did that I guess to add some diversity to Southern and to use that as a drawing card for Southern. And I'm like, dude, you winning championships. That's the only drawing card you need. You don't need to, show that you're the Rainbow Coalition, because guess what? Like Southern, they say all the time, like, other groups of people are not worried about fairness the way black people are. So like, I felt like, that's one thing I really couldn't stand. He had the Rainbow Coalition. Had the white offensive coordinator, Hispanic defensive coordinator. Now I'm not gonna lie, the Asian defensive coordinator, Hispanic defensive coordinator, like he was a dog him. But like all those other like Rainbow Coalition coordinators he had, and that was just, to me, that was just for show more than anything. But I think at the end of the day, I think I can't speak to other SWAC schools, but I feel like Coach Richardson, I think he went out his way because there were good black kickers and punters, at schools in Baton Rouge that he just kind of overlooked, in my opinion. I think he always kind of intentionally went out his way to get like a couple white guys. He had a lineman, a white lineman from Cal that transferred from Cal with Steve Warford, who was Southern University's all-time leading rusher at the time. So at the end of the day, I felt like Coach Richardson, he always tried to add a couple like non-black players to the team to show, hey, Southern University has diversity, and we can use this as a drawing card so y'all can play for us. I'm like, dude, y'all win. Y'all don't need to do all the extra stuff, you know what I'm saying? But that was my opinion, though.
Yeah, a lot of coaches do that. I agree. JB, to answer Big Joe's dad, what's your opinion? When did a lot of the kickers in HBCUs become like just Hispanic and white and non-black?
I mean, of course, me and you played football around the early 2000s. So I just noticed, like you said, it's just not a lot of black. There was not a lot of black kickers, man, like that. A lot of the best kickers were white and Hispanic because they played soccer and stuff like that. Or there's a couple of kickers I know that were trained to be kickers. Um, and we know this one white dude. You know, shout out to you know, we used to call him Baby Bannock, but he was a kicker all the way till middle school, and he was a kicker all the way till his senior year of high school. He got a scholarship, so ain't no brothers doing that. They playing running back, they playing receiver, defensive end, D lineman. You know what I'm saying? So
Not saying there isn't, but it's not a lot. It's a
yeah,
handful.
there's some. I think the brother Destroying is a kicker. Um,
Yeah,
what was that black punter that was in the league for a couple of years?
Marquise
And
King or something like
Marquise
that.
King, yeah, he was there. Um,
I ain't gonna lie, I
the
feel like he
punter
got a
from the
bad rap
Steelers,
himself.
yeah, but he did some whole stuff, man. So yeah, he
But
was
no,
he was trolling his own teammate, and Bruce Irvin was about to beat his butt when he was with the I think
with the Raiders.
he was with the Raiders.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
No, I agree with you saying, but I felt like if he would have been white, he wouldn't have got the kind of backlash and scrutiny.
I agree. I
I
agree.
agree.
I don't think he understood that, but at the same I feel like you're gonna if you're gonna have a standard for one person, you need to have the same standard for everybody across the board. And we talk about that all the time in the LDBC. I mean, I feel like the dead horse, but we need to bring light to the injustice and the bull crap. You know what I'm saying?
True. But yeah, that's not the answer to Pop's question, man. There's really that's not a sexy position. That's you got to be gifted at it. You know what I'm saying? Or have it implemented in your athleticism. Not a lot of brothers kick like that. You know, they could. You know, I do see Ocho Cinco. I believe brothers can if they wanted to. Like you see Ocho Cinco. I think Napa Sue kicking when he was in college or in a little bit in the NFL when the kickers got hurt. So brothers do have the ability and athleticism to it, but it just, if you can rush the passer, why are you kicking?
Yeah, and I understand everything. We all saying, and just to kind of bring up your point where you say like Jared was saying, you know, the brothers that do it, they kind of like Afro Latino. But even with that being said, like Southern had this punter, his name Ruben Boplants last year. They used to call him Mr. Goldenfoot. He came to Southern, and he was just an average punter. And man, this dude worked and worked and worked. Last year, he didn't even make all SWAC, but this dude, Southern offense was so trash. A lot of times they would be on like the minor side of the field. They would have bad field position. He would come out on the field and punt the ball and flip the field where Southern would have bad field position. Now the opposing offense have bad field position. So, he might be, of course, he might be like Afro Latino or whatever he is, but at the end of the day, like, uh Big Joe was saying, I mean, they got brothers that play soccer too. All of them not necessarily Afro Latino, but they got brothers out there that play soccer. You just gotta kind of look far and wide for them. And like y'all say, the punters and kickers and holders, those aren't sexy positions like you say. So that's a valid point.
Okay, Big Joe. Hope that answered Pop's question.
All right.
All right. Um, all right. This is a topic I want to discuss. Uh, will Boise State burn out Heisman hopeful Ashton Genty? And this is why I'm asking this question. Um, the young man is running like he's putting up over 2,000 yards plus every game so far. If he has the ability and the motive to do that, all praises to him. But I'm just worried. I want to see the young man, in the league, getting generational wealth. So I just hope they don't, because it's Boise State is benefiting from him, his body, and then winning games. But um, if we just look at the history of running backs who um, are overused, like look at Mike Hart. Uh, you can look at a lot of running backs who were beast in college, getting over 1,000 yards and a lot of carries, and as soon as they hit the NFL, you don't see that same uh, gumption when they run the ball, because they're
They got a lot of miles on
they
them.
got a lot of miles on them. So, do you think the way that it's going for Ashton Genty, this may happen? JB, I'm going with you.
Well, me and Coach we had a very extensive conversation before the show, and we bring in the Ian Johnsons, the Ron Dames, people like that were beasts and kind of put up video game like numbers in college, and then when they got in the league, they couldn't bring that production because it was a lot. and of course it was the NFL. But as you stated too, not everybody's going to be, everybody's body type is different. So not everybody's going to be a Derrick Henry or hell, Sean Alexander. And Sean Alexander, when he got late, in his around his 30s, he's starting to break down as well. So
Hmm.
I'm still waiting for the running back from Michigan that just was drafted. What's the kid from Baltimore? We
He
watched
played,
the documentary.
he played
Huh?
at St. Francis. Yeah.
Yeah. What's that kid name? He was a beast. He was having knee issues, but him, you know, uh, like you said, there's a lot of brothers like Mike Hart, um, beast running back from I believe it was Michigan as well. He played for Michigan too. So I mean, I haven't really sat down and watched Boise State really this young man. So I have to one day just just especially when North Carolina is getting blown out, just watch this dude run and see how many hits he takes. Because if he just making dudes outrunning everybody, then he's gonna be fine. But if he's making three, four, five dudes miss, bouncing off tackles, that accumulates. We even seen that with Lamar. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Well, Lamar gets nicked up and not finish the season, so them hits do add up. And you know what? Look, hey, look at Christian McCaffrey.
Mm. Good
That
example.
them years he had that MVP year. A lot of people thought he was MVP last year, but it looks like it took a toll on his body because he was catching and running.
No, that's not
And
what
I
took.
think it was, I think it was
Growing
the toll he took in North Carolina and when he was in
exactly,
Carolina.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
So, so this
Um.
is a good topic. It's something that people don't think about. That's probably, even though we defend the running backs on here, I wish Brent Fox was here. He had a good segment about it on his show about the running back position. But
Mm,
it's one of the reasons why the running backs have been depleted. Their role has been minimized because they take that's a one position where they get hit almost every play, other than the O line and D line. So
yeah. And the other running back you were talking about, from Michigan last year is Blake Corum that was drafted.
Blake Corum,
Yeah.
yeah, I know he was having knee issues. So
And just to raise you one, another running backs who made it to the NFL had a decent career, but later when they get close to their 30s, they just shut down. Melvin Gordon is a good example. You know what I mean?
yeah, Melvin Gordon had a good, and that's another one. He was with Wisconsin.
Hmm. Had a lot of carries, high carries. Um, I think he held a record for a lot of yards. Still holds a record for a lot of yards. Um, but where's he at? You
Yeah,
know what I mean? But Coach, what's your opinion on this topic?
Uh, like JB was saying, he and I we talked about this extensively backstage, and my point of view opposes his point of view. The reason being, I played on a high school team where the feature back on my high school team, his name was Brad Hill. He ended up playing for Grambling. He played 3 years. He was a prop 209, so he didn't get his last year eligibility back because I don't think he had a certain amount of hours or he didn't graduate on time or whatever. But I remember in the district championship game my senior year, we had 54 plays and we only threw the ball 3 times. And one of those plays on 3rd and 14, they threw a swing pass to him and he got 15 yards. So I think on a Pop Warner level, Breck level, junior high, middle school level, high school level, college level, I don't think it really matters as much. But once you get to the NFL, and you do like Bump Phillips did with Earl Campbell and run him 40 times a game. Basically, he ran Earl Campbell into the ground. You see Earl Campbell now, he's crippled. At one point, he was walking on two canes, two crutches. If you remember the before the greatest show on turf, the Vikings had like the most explosive offense with Randall Cunningham and Randy Moss, and eventually Dante Culpepper took over that Cunningham spot. At one point, like they had an explosive offense, but they lost. I wanted them to win that game, but they lost in the NFC Championship game to the Atlanta Falcons. And of course, being that the Saints and the Falcons always been division rivals, I can't stand them dirty birds. But Jamal Anderson, he had so many carries that year that literally, like, his NFL career wasn't the same after that year. They got to the Super Bowl, they lost to the Broncos, but after that point, it was like a drastic decline in his career. So I think the shelf life of a running back is only limited. You're only gonna have so many years. That's why, whether you playing Madden or whether you talking about real life, like once running backs get to their 30s, like there's a gradual just drop off. But once you reach a certain carry threshold, and they did it wasn't necessarily a study, but like they showed all these running backs they had a certain amount of carries. Jamal Anderson was one of them. I think at a certain point, I think Ezekiel Elliott was one of them. That was the reason why Jerry Jones, they really didn't want to pay Zeke Elliott, was because once you reach a certain amount of carries in the NFL, once you cross that threshold, like, you're never the same again. And that's why you see running backs, like, in their older age, they just kind of just gradually fall off. You're starting to see it with Christian McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara. I don't think those two running backs, even though I think in Alvin Kamara situation, having the offensive line issues with Eric McCoy and Cesar Ruiz both being injured and being out, I think that's more of the difference more than anything. But I think at the end of the day, I think from a productivity standpoint, once you have a certain amount of carries, once you reach a certain age, you're gonna gradually start to decline. But in the case of somebody like Mike Hart when he was at Michigan, I'm gonna be honest with you, Mike Hart was a power back, but he wasn't a big back. So I really didn't see, even if he wouldn't have had so many carries at Michigan, I don't see him making it in the NFL to begin with, because he was a power back, but he was a smallish power back. So I think a lot of those guys that really they don't do as well as as people think they should have did in the NFL, I don't think they were that good to begin with. I don't think the carries and the wear and tear really comes into play until you actually get in the NFL. Then that punishment and that battle of attrition comes into play. Me personally, somebody like Mike Hart, I don't think he was good enough to really make it in the NFL, because he was a smaller body type, but he was more of a power back. And, those two really don't coincide. They don't, just imagine being like a 185-pound running back trying to run people over in the NFL. It's not going to work, you know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I don't think that really it carries as much weight and as much merit in college, unless you just on a super trash team and you carrying them boys on your back. I think maybe it has a little validity then, but I think that's more of an NFL issue more than anything.
Now, of course, we got other examples than Mike Hart, but just to correct you, Mike Hart wasn't. He was short, but like he was 5'9", 202 or 210 pounds, so he was around the same size as Frank Gore. So, and he was muscular. So, like you said, so I don't really think. I think, like I said, his running style, and the amount of carries.
Well, like I said, you just said 210. You didn't say he was 5'9" and 225, 235, 240. Now, if you'd have said somebody like Brandon Jacobs, I'm like, yeah, that's a different story. But 210 ain't like, it's not huge for an NFL running back. You got to realize Barry Sanders was 210. So Barry Sanders wasn't trying to run people over either. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. When I say smaller back, I didn't say he was. I used a 185-pound example or analogy, but I'm just saying 210 is for a running back in the NFL. It's not huge. 210 is more of a third down type back, like a Barry Sanders, like a Travis Minor, like those type of backs. 210, you're not gonna be a power back in the NFL. 210, you might be a power back in high school or college. 210, you're not a power back in the NFL. Unless you like some kind of like rare anomaly or something.
I hear you, Coach, but there's backs around that size who was able to ball and last in the NFL.
No.
Uh,
I think at 210 you can make it in the NFL. At 210, you're not a power back in the NFL. I mean, everybody can have a point of view when it comes to that. I just don't see you being a 210 pound power back in the NFL. I mean, Barry Sanders was around 210 and he was like, the greatest highlight reel running back of all time. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I hear you, and I respectfully disagree. Like again, Frank Gore, 5'9", 212 pounds, and he was brute. He was fast and could run you over if you in his way, run through your tackle. So again, it's the type of running back. But I
I
get
think I think it's a fantastic conversation. Um, and I think this is what we brought up on the show as well. Why people are going away from running backs. I think coach is not wrong, and I think it's this whole situation of how people or teams, excuse me, draft running backs is their shelf life, like Coach said. So they look at the mileage, the weight, height, and all that. This is a fantastic. I say, go ahead. I'm sorry, Jerry.
no problem. And just want to get Big Joe's opinion on this. So I know a lot of us, we've been long winded. So just in case you didn't hear the topic, Big Joe, we were talking about basically will a shot Ashton Genty shelf life be affected because the amount of carries he's carrying with Boise State.
No, I don't think so. Because high school and college is totally different than it is in the NFL. I mean, it's not like he's getting like astronomical carries. He's getting maybe 19 to 25 carries a game, which is kind of average if you're a premier player. I mean, Shador Sanders throws the ball 44 times a game. So, I think 19 carries for a running back in college is not that bad, especially when they're not playing like top tier teams. Not like they're playing Alabama every week. They're playing a Hawaii or, they're playing
Mm,
what I mean? They're playing the WAC conference. So, they're not playing top tier teams every week. So they don't have the premier athletes to where they're gonna come down here. They're not playing a Sean Taylor. They're not playing an Ed Reed every week. So the toll that he's taking is not gonna be as if he played in another conference. But even if he did, it's not going to matter as much when it comes to the NFL. For his success in the NFL, it's going to be depend on what team that drafts him, what team that uses him. I think a lot of times NFL teams they draft players that fit their scheme, and he's definitely he's a downhill back. He can catch as well. You know what I mean? So I think he will go good for a team like the 49ers. It looked like they might not get
mm.
Christian McCaffrey back. I think that'd be a good spot for him. I think he'll be going good for any West Coast offense team with the utilizer running back. I think that'll be good for him. So and also to say this is not slight to the brother. He's out there balling. Just because you're a good college running back don't mean you're gonna be a good NFL running back too. Like for
Facts.
example, what I mean, for example, like we have Trent Richardson. Trent Richardson was a dog at Alabama. He gets in the NFL, he didn't have the same success he had when he was there. Another
Yeah,
guy,
no
you
video.
got another guy, Lindell White. Lindell White and Reggie Bush was a 1-2 punch with USC. Lindell White go to Tennessee. He wasn't that lightning and thunder that they had with when he was at USC. Another guy,
He
Monty
couldn't
Ball.
stop eating them Big Macs.
Hey, bro. Hey, when you get $20 million signing bonus, hey. But yeah, Monty Ball. He was a Heisman Trophy winner. He didn't pan out that well in the NFL. Darren McFadden.
Man,
He went to Arkansas. He balled out. He went to the Raiders. He wasn't that premier back that he was a great running back, but he wasn't that premier back that he was in Arkansas. You know what I mean? So, but then you get a guy like Ricky Williams. He was a dog at Texas. He was a dog in the NFL. So then you get like Eddie George. Eddie George was a dog at Ohio State. He was a dog in the NFL. You know what I mean? Then you get a guy like Mark Ingram II. He was a dog at when he was in Alabama, but he wasn't that player when he was in the NFL. So we have examples all day. Some even say Reggie Bush didn't live up to his potential when he came to the NFL.
Hey, I'm
So
my ho. You ain't gonna say that without me pushing back. Mark Ingram, no,
no, no,
did he
come
have
on
the
now,
career of
let's talk
Derrick
about it.
Henry? But come on now, Mark
Oh,
Ingram was a dog.
I didn't
Uh,
hold on. I said compare from college, his college play to the NFL. I
He
ain't
did
say he was
good.
garbage.
He
I ain't
did
say he
good.
was garbage.
I'm not.
Okay.
Hey, hold on, brother. Hold on, brother.
Come on, let's go, brother. We can do it. Let's go, brother. Come on, let's go.
I'm not saying that you're saying that he was garbage.
Uh
Um,
huh.
but he did damn good in the NFL.
Yeah, he did good. Exactly. The word he did good. That's my point.
He's saying he
Thank you.
not wasn't as dominant as he was in college.
He's not. You don't just give Ingram the ball and tell him to run. He needs another person there. Every team
I
he was on is
I,
a two-back system. Let me know if I'm lying.
I stand corrected. I stand corrected. I get what you're
Like
saying.
you thinking, Jerry, you got purple glasses on because he was productive when he was
Bro,
with
I
Lamar.
love
Okay.
I love Ingram, but he needs a two-back
Okay.
system. Just cause
Let me take my purple shades off. Okay, you good.
uh,
we
You right.
talk we talking about guys who can translate from college to NFL. That's what the conversation is
And he
about. This,
wasn't
this
too
all
shabby.
this,
And
this,
Coach will
this,
tell you he wasn't too shabby in New Orleans. But go
me
ahead.
me being a residential New Orleans Saints fan, I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of lean towards Big Joe because people don't realize when he first got to New Orleans, of course Reggie Bush left, Ingram came, but you had Chris Ivory, you had Kyrie Robinson. I mean,
Chris Ivory was a dog.
you had backs that kind of overshadowed Ingram, and realistically, the only reason why Ingram ended up being that guy was because they invested so much in going back up to get him and Cam Jordan in that same draft. For the most part, they pretty much pushed other backs out the way, so he eventually got the spotlight and eventually became a good back. But if you compare what he was at Alabama to what he was with the Saints, it took him a long time to be 1,000-yard running back for the Saints, and he never really quite lived up to that all-world billing he had at the University of Alabama. So I'm gonna agree with Big Joe on this one.
Okay. I
And
stand
then
corrected.
after he had that season with Lamar, because Lamar can make any running back look good because everybody's watching Lamar. The year after, when we got J.K. Dobbins, he kind of fell off. So they got a point, man.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then you got to realize when he came back to New Orleans after that, that was more of a nostalgia run more than anything. He was in the twilight of his career, and they appreciated all the things he did. The time he was with New Orleans, even though they really kind of shoved him to the forefront. Realistically, Chris Ivory was better than him. They used to make up all these whack excuses talking about how, oh yeah, he doesn't catch the ball out the backfield as well as Mark Ingram, and he doesn't pick up the blitzes well. I'm like, between the tackles running the ball, Chris Ivory was twice as good as Mark Ingram was when he
Now
first
that
got
I
to the
agree
Saints.
with. Chris Harvey was a dog if
Oh,
healthy. He
Chris
just couldn't
Ivory was
stay
a dog.
healthy.
Kyrie Robinson. So they always wanted to, push Ingram to the forefront because they invested so much in him in terms of going back into the first round and going back to get him. So that they wanted him to thrive. It was in their best interest for him to thrive and be successful, being that they invested so much in him.
Yeah, but my bad, Big Joe. Let me I'm
no,
let you
you,
finish.
no, you good, bro. I'm using the examples. Another guy who balled out in college and in the NFL was O.J. Simpson. Another guy who balled out in college and in the NFL also was Adrian Peterson. Another guy who balled out was Emmitt Smith. So we got guys who balled out and guys who didn't. So it's a 50-50 when it comes to running backs. You got to be that generational talent, what I mean, to dominate in both areas. So is the brother from Boise State, is he gonna be that? We'll never know. But he's running like a dog. He's playing like a dog. Hell, he had big numbers when he played against Oregon. He had 3 tugs for like 198 or something. You know what I mean? And Oregon just beat Ohio State. So Oregon ain't a trash team. So if he do that against Oregon, that lets you know that he's a legit player. So again, it depends on what team that he goes to, and if he can learn the playbook, and if they schematically use him. 'Cause there's a lot of guys who go to NFL teams who offensive coordinator don't know how to use him. This was the big hindrance in Lamar Jackson's career. They did not know how to use him. I mean, so I think that the brother has a good chance. He looks like he's the best running back in college football right now.
Right. He is.
So but again, he is playing against the Hawaii's, the Utah States,
Oh yeah.
the San Jose States, the Fresno States. So he
If he
gonna ball out.
if he balls against the Bamas, the South Carolinas, then okay, yeah, he the real deal. But yeah,
But
like I
he
said,
had one good
incorrect.
he had one good game against Oregon, and he had a good game against Washington State. Washington State is what are they a Big Ten team now? Anyways, those are so Washington State and Oregon are the two big programs that he played in that he balled out in. So he has a shot. So it just depends on what system he goes to.
Okay.
Hey, just to be fair, there, um, we said the same thing about Christian McCaffrey, how he was playing in Stanford and Stanford playing against defenses. Every time he touched the ball, he get 10 yards before he get touched by a defender. But he had a good, McCaffrey turned out all right, so the brother got a chance. But I just want to say one thing. Uh, the Cowboys getting the draws beat off they behind, bro. Dang.
I ain't want to say nothing. I'm at
I can't
37 to
stand when
9, they
Carl throw
losing.
this
Good
little
lord.
bomb.
Dang man, Dallas. What's the score? Damn.
37 to 9 Lions. And then Aid Hutchinson got hurt really bad. He got caught up on the stretcher. The DN, the Pro Bowl DN from Michigan, actually, for the
Oh
Lions. He
no.
got
Oh
hauled off in the
man.
stretcher. So yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
man.
He said, yeah. So it was real bad. I mean, you got folks crying on the sidelines and everything. So hopefully, he all right.
I pray he all right, man. That's crazy. But yeah, Dallas. Yeah, Dak Prescott has been one, brother. It's been one. Yeah, it's been one.
They really ain't got no receivers other than CD Lamb out there, to be honest with
I don't want to hear that. But moving on. Another topic, man. Ohio State falls on their face, and Alabama squeaks by South Carolina. Now, I wanna give my props to Oregon. Oregon offense is the real deal. They're very explosive. Um, Ohio State, them Buckeyes, the defensive back could not hold none of them they wide receivers at all, man. And I thought Ohio State was gonna have a better showing on the defense side of the ball. Nope. And what was that that give up slide that quarterback? What was that about? The game was on the line.
Uh,
You ain't got nothing else to lose.
Poor time management. He thought he had time left on the clock to kick a field goal. He didn't know the
you.
time
Yeah.
ran out.
Because in college they stopped the clock. So
Yeah, Will Howard he was tripping on that, but live and learn from it. But Oregon is undefeated, gentlemen. Dylan Gabriel balled out. Now, their wide receiver Evan Stewart, he was running past everybody in that secondary. Did anybody catch that game?
Absolutely.
All right,
That was a good game, man.
All right, starting with Big Joe. What was your opinion on the Ohio State losing to Oregon?
Man, that was a good game to be honest. I mean, I me and Pops watched the game together. You know what I mean? So I wanted to see if Oregon was that team. Because they had some very questionable wins early. I think they almost lost to Idaho and they almost lost to Boise State. So I want to know if Oregon was their team. You know what I mean? This is their first year in the what is it, the Big Ten conference? Was it Big Ten, right? The Big Ten conference. So
Hmm.
Ohio State, I want to see how good they were too, because a lot of times they play some soft teams early on, and for like 3 or 4 games they play some soft teams, and then they finally start playing. So I wanted to see, if they were good too. And Oregon showed up. I mean, they had a wide receiver who was just burning them dudes. I think he used to be roommates with Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix family adopted him. I think. Yeah, Stewart. Yeah, Stewart. 7 for 149 and a touchdown. He was
Yeah,
killing them
sure.
dudes out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, Oregon's legit. You get the number two ranked team in the country, and Ohio State. Ohio State is always in the top four, top five. When you beat them at home, you're legit. You know what I mean? So it was a tough, hard fought game. At the end of the game, you had a quarterback. He just a lot of poor time management towards the end of the game. You know what I mean? So he was trying to slide and save a second, so that way they can kick a field goal, but then time was already up. So that's something that you got to work on in practice. So in Oregon, they have the opportunity. I mean, they can run the gauntlet. I mean, they play Purdue next. Then they play Illinois. Illinois, but you play Illinois, then they play Michigan. Michigan is not Michigan of last year. Then they play Maryland, Wisconsin, and Washington. So Oregon has a chance to be undefeated and be bowl and be in the playoffs. So but what we've seen this year, any given Saturday, you never know what's going to happen. There's a lot of, again, they almost lost to Idaho, almost lost to Boise State, but then they dog walk Ohio State. Let's see if they can keep that same energy next week. Because again, you amped up, you at home, you got on the black jerseys, you playing Ohio State. Yeah, we Oregon, Big O. And keep that same energy next week. A lot of teams have a hard time doing that this year. But it was a good game.
Ask Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, so it was a phenomenal game. The best playing the best. And maybe they may see each other down the road in the Big Ten championship, maybe. So we'll see. But good win by Oregon. I'm not a big fan of his coach, but that's a different story. But Ohio
Facts.
State, maybe is that coach the answer? He couldn't be. He can't seem to win the big games. He can't seem to get Ohio State over the hump. But he probably can save his job. If they beat Michigan this year, because long as you beat Michigan, you can still keep your job. So we're gonna see. But good win by Oregon.
Very good win. And salute to my brother, D Man Jr. He said, Yo, what's good with my bros, man? We chilling, man. Talking ball, man. Appreciate you
Man,
stepping
what's
by.
up, D-Man Jr.?
What's up, D man?
Yeah, man. But Coach, what was your thoughts on the game?
Well, actually, brother, that's one of those games I didn't catch because you know how my Saturdays go. My
Yeah.
entire Saturday is primarily, I did a radio show yesterday morning, and a good portion of my Saturday was centered around Southern University's life and death win over Texas Southern. Then, of course, I caught a little Baval Better Beeve. I had a busy Saturday yesterday.
Okay. It's all good. It's all good. Um, JB, what was your thought on the game?
It was a good back and forth. Um, Offensively, it was explosive. Um, on defensively, is bend but don't break. You know, uh, the the Ohio State quarterback was he was decent. It was okay. He's normal. Ohio State quarterback. He I just get the ball to the weapons. And in Oregon, usually, got a Dennis Dixon back there, a dude that got an arm but can actually and can run a little bit. So the Gabriel Dillon, he's pretty good. I enjoyed the game. It came down to the last possession, which we all know. Will Howard wasn't paying attention to how much time he got on the clock, and slid with 0 seconds left when he thought he had a couple of change left. So Oregon won at Ohio State.
Okay, okay. All right, awesome. Now we going to the other game, man. What did you think about the Bama and South Carolina game? I predicted this was gonna happen on uh Cadillac Red show and Usual Suspects, Supreme Beats Boxing. Uh, I predicted that if Bama don't come to play or they still reeling from that loss against Vanderbilt, they gonna get punched in their mouth again. But I did say that they were gonna win, but it's not gonna be easy, and boy, it was not. Um, Shout out to the South Carolina's quarterback Sellers. He's an athlete. He can toss that thing. Um, but even though he did have a costly sack fumble, which he should have just took the sack instead of trying to throw out the sack. Um, but South Carolina, they could have won this game. They made a lot of mistakes, man. Um, Going with you, JB. What did you think about the South Carolina and Bama game?
Oh, they had Alabama's number. I like the quarterback. I like Sellers. They had a good running back. They again, they got two pass happy for me. In certain instances, they had this running back. I forgot his name. He was a bruiser.
Raheem Sanders.
Um, Raheem Sanders. I would have liked him to get more touches, especially when they had the lead. Um, uh, Big Joe talked about it in the group chat. Fumbling the ball, missing the 2 point conversions. Because Milrow was throwing picks, man. He threw a pick in the end zone. So that was the game. It was South Carolina had two games against ranked teams like that. What team did they play? Um, when they were beating them, I think it was it Ohio State. Well, anyway, there's two games like this. They let two huge programs. Um, they let them off the hook, and they should have won the game. Uh, this, this to me is on coaching. I think Sellers played good. I think the defense played good. It's just you gotta, South Carolina gotta do a better job with, time management and certain points.
And it was LSU was the game that you was talking about.
LSU, they had LSU won. They had the rights and they let them off the hook. So
Yeah. All right, coach, did you catch this game?
What game would that be, brother?
The Bama versus South Carolina.
Nope, didn't catch that one either.
It's all good, man. I know you was focused towards the Southern game, and
You already know.
yes, sir. Uh, Big Joe, what was your thoughts on the Bama versus South Carolina game? Trill Will, what's up?
Man, salute to Will, man.
salute, Will. What's up, man?
What's up, cocaine? Yeah, no, this was one of the games I highlighted. One of the games I put in the group chat. I'm like, hey man, we're going to watch this game and see what's going on. And yeah, I figured that was gonna happen. you know, um, South Carolina, at the time they were 3-2, and Alabama it seems to be struggling this season. You know what I mean? They seem to just be struggling with having consistency and putting games together. I mean, they just lost to Vanderbilt. So I wanted to see how they were going to react. How coaching was going to do, how if they had any cohesiveness, and see if they're going to come back and dominate against South Carolina. If you're going to be that Bama team, you're going to dominate against South Carolina. But as we see, Alabama is having some O line issues. O line was struggling yesterday. That boy, number 5, Kyle Kennard, who had 7 tackles and 2 sacks yesterday, he was raising hell on the boys yesterday. So what I mean, them Alabama boys, as my daddy would say. What I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So and Jalen Milrose was running for his life, and he made some bad decisions. Jalen Milrose was supposed to be in a Heisman race, but he was 16 to 23, 209, 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. You know what I mean? So he did have 18 carries for 36 yards and 2 touchdowns, but to me, it was more about what South Carolina didn't do than what Alabama did to win the game. South Carolina should have won that game. They had them. They had them on the ropes, but I'm not going to get on Lenore Sellers because he's really a freshman. So he's going to learn from this game, and hopefully next year, he maybe can capitalize on games like this. But he's a freshman, so he looked good at times to see why he's a starter. But then also you see that he's a freshman, and he's going to make mistakes because he doesn't have the experience to do their thing. And then you had, they had a running back for South Carolina. He reminded me of Marcus Lattimore out there running the ball. I think it was number 5, I think. He was out there running the ball.
Raheem
So
Sanders, yeah.
yeah. It's Alabama's it's a tough game. Now, the announcer said, can Alabama beat Tennessee? They're like, oh no, Alabama's struggling this game. There's no way they're gonna beat a Tennessee. And we saw Tennessee almost lost to Florida. So in the SEC, you can lose any week. I mean, hell, Alabama lost to Vanderbilt. Nobody saw that coming. So Alabama right now is at a stake right now to where, they got to find out who they are as a team. But they only going to go as far as Milrose, takes them. So 2 picks ain't going to help. But that O-line needs some help, though. I mean, you take away Milrose's 36 rushing yards, they ain't got over 100 yards. They only got 104 yards as a team. Take away Milrose 36, they struggle running the ball too, just like Colorado. But again, the O-line struggled, so they're going to have to figure out that. See, this is where coaching come in now. So we got the head coach, who left Washington State. They gave him the keys to the Ferrari. Hey, look, he had to do no recruiting. You got the keys to the Ferrari, do your thing. That's cool that you got the Ferrari, but now can you maintain the Ferrari? Do you have enough money to change the tires? Do you have enough money to do the oil changes? Do you have enough money to do tune-ups and stuff like that? See, this is when coaching come into play now. So, Alabama can't lose no more if they won't be in the playoffs. And next week they got Tennessee. So now we're gonna see next week what it's gonna be. But Alabama, they beat a tough team in South Carolina. But then again, it's about what South Carolina didn't do. That's why Alabama won. So Milrose is definitely out of the Heisman race, in my opinion. So they're going to have to regroup. Coaching is going to have to coach. You're going to have to develop players during the year. Because they only had a 4-man rush, and they was getting on Alabama yesterday. 4-man rush, that should not happen. What I mean? The fact that you got to have your running back help to chip in, and they still getting a sack. That's a problem. So they're going to have to figure out something. But shout out to Alabama for the win. But, it's a win that makes you raise your eyebrows to see, okay, we're going to see where this team really at. We're going to see again. It's all about the coaching. What y'all going to do? Nick Saban stepped away, gave you the keys to the Ferrari, and looked like you about to crash his car. So, hey, this is the same Alabama team, though, that beat Georgia. It's the same team. But you lose to Vanderbilt and you struggle against South Carolina. Now we're gonna see what they're gonna do against Tennessee next week. That's gonna let us know if Alabama got a real good coach or not.
Yeah, because if he lose any more games, he definitely gonna be in the hot seat. Hell, he already is. But facts, man, facts. Moving on to the next topic. JB, I'm gonna let you take over. Though if you didn't hear,
And his name is Ty Lee Craft.
Ty,
Not
oh
it's
no, appreciate it. My bad. But what happened is basically this young man, Ty Lee Craft. I do apologize for the typo. Ty Lee Craft. Yesterday, um, died due to a long battle with lung cancer. He was diagnosed in the year 2022. Uh, he was a wide receiver that recruited by Mac Brown, but unfortunately, his career was cut short due to his being diagnosed with cancer. So that morning, yesterday, or excuse me, yeah, Saturday, uh, news broke out that his family, informed Mac Brown and his staff that Ty Lee Craft uh, didn't make it. Basically, he passed on. So Mac Brown had to decide whether to tell the team um, before the game or after. And he decided to tell the boys after. And yeah, there was a lot of emotions running high. But JB, just can you being a North Carolina Tar Heel fan, can you kind of elaborate on this situation?
yeah, man. It was sad. As you stated, Mac got the word from the his mom and everybody before the game. Um, Mac said he was debating if he wanted to tell the team before or after the game. Um, the mental health um, uh, operations in North UNC advised the staff not to do it after the game. Of course, we lost a heartbreaker to Georgia Tech, and after the game, Mac Brown told the team, and of course, there was a lot of people crying, tears, especially J.J. Jones, who wore the 13 because the team was visiting them. You know, uh, during the game, before the game, and current week, just to know that they still had love for him and support. So this is hopefully this season is going to be well. I know this season is going to be dedicated to Tylee Craft. Some things is more important than football, and this is one of them things. So anybody who was lost somebody to cancer, man, just keep them in prayer. Keep the Craft family in prayer, and as well as never forget anybody that lost their battle with cancer. Uh, so, but that's pretty much it, man. Tylee Craft was a strong young man. He was a G. He was supporting his team, knowing that he wasn't gonna make it. He was laughing and trying to have a good time. That's the type of man I respect. A fighter to the end. So you know, um, yeah, I just hate getting news like this, man. So, but rest in peace, Tylee Craft.
Rest in peace to Ty Lee Craft.
Rest in peace to the young homie.
Yeah, man. Um, all right. Last topic before we go into the NFL action that has happened today, and it's the running. There's the run stopping linebacker becoming irrelevant. Let me explain. Uh, so players like the Maniac, Darius Leonard, or Shaquille Leonard is out of the league. Devin White was picked up for the Eagles, and they cut him. And Roquan Smith, uh, even though the Ravens got him, his age is showing. He's being beat a lot in the pass. Um, he's playing. He's doing his thing in run support, but when it comes to the teams like today, like Jaden Daniels, who can air
Mhm.
that
Passing
thing out,
teams.
the
Hmm.
passing teams, they can air that thing out. It seems like these type linebackers become a liability. Um, uh, Especially when they get older. Like Darius Leonard, he could defend the pass, but once he got older, toward that 30-year mark, it seemed like he was missing a step and couldn't stay healthy. Same thing with Devin White. So starting with you, Coach, do you think that the run stopping linebacker is becoming irrelevant due to the style of the game, or you think just linebackers get old and it just shows?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I think if you're a good linebacker, you're a good linebacker. I don't think. Uh, I mean, I think if you're one dimensional, then that's going to be problematic. I mean, in today's NFL it's uh it's a spread pass happy league, like pretty much every level. I mean, I coach on the junior high, middle school level. I see spread offenses. I cover uh, you know high school games on Friday nights. I see a lot of spread offenses. Typically, I either watch yeah, I either go to Southern game, watch Southern game, or I just watch a lot of football on Saturday. See a lot of spread offense. You see a lot of spread offenses on a Sunday in the NFL. So at the end of the day, it's football is more pass happy than it was when I was coming up. So at the end of the day, either you're gonna have to have a high degree of versatility or utility, either or. But if you one dimensional, if you're going to stop the run and you really can't get out and cover, like teams are not going to find as much use for you. But those run stopping linebacker that was prevalent, like maybe in the 70s, the 80s, maybe even the 90s, uh, those guys are more versatile now. They could probably play in the slot. They could cover more. And even if you look at somebody like Pete Warner for the Saints, I'm gonna be truthful. To me, I think he's just a glorified undersized linebacker more than anything. Let me rephrase that. He a glorified undersized safety that's really playing linebacker. I don't think he a legitimate linebacker because we talking about being able to stop the run. He can't stop the run. So, I think the way the league is nowadays, I think just like great players in any, generation, we when we talk with the NBA, we often talk about the Jordans and the whole discussion with Anthony Edwards, and Jordan was the only skilled player in that day and age. Of course, he's wrong when he said I think he was talking about more or less uh extremely athletic player. And I know some people might be like, well, how does this applies to the NFL? I think NFL linebackers nowadays, they're more adept to being out in space, being able to cover, uh, and that sort of thing. I think the 7, 8 man in the box linebacker that can only really tackle and really can't cover out space, that guy's kind of a dinosaur. If you that guy,
Mm.
then you more than likely you probably either you're gonna be on the offensive side of the ball or you're not gonna be, you're not an NFL linebacker in 2024. So that was the point I'm trying to make. Uh I'm not saying to a certain degree if you want to say those guys aren't valued, cool. But I think more than anything, I think those guys have kind of been phased out, just like the defensive linemen, like the big slob hogs, like the Tony Saragusa, Sam Adams type guys. Those guys that really only stop the run. I mean, those guys still exist. They play nose guard nowadays. But the thing about it is, those guys have to be able to stay on the field all 3 downs now they just can't be run stoppers on first and second down, and then you send a pass rusher in for them on third down. You have to be able to play all 3 downs, and I think that's the where the league is now. If you like a run stopper as a defensive tackle or as a linebacker, you have to be able to make the adjustment to be able to be on the field all 3 downs, and I think that's where the game is nowadays.
Good point. Good point. JB, what's your thoughts?
I think Coach did a good job making some of the points I wanted to make. It has a lot to do with the offense now. Everything you can't hit nobody now. And it's the same thing with like box safeties. Box safeties is getting um, fizzed out because you can't hit nobody no more. Um, you got guys like Travis Kelsey, the Kittles, the you know tight ends that can run in the middle of the field wide open, and then you got linebackers like Roquan Smith or um, a Shaq Leonard or Devin White that you know. And in my mind, the only way you can stop those type of tight ends or heck receivers is not firing from them. Because they're too big for you to cover and they're too fast if you try to give them cushion. So I mean, the only like linebackers I see that everybody's trying to find now is
Fred
the
Warner's.
Fred Warner, the Fred Warners type linebackers. And I believe that with Roquan to me is just a little fat this year. Like he gained a little bit of weight. Last year was a little slimmer. So when he's in zone, he kind of a step slow. Some of the Flock Nation of the Baltimore, channel on YouTube point that out. That he kind of he just probably need to just drop that fork a little bit, man, and get some of that weight off so he can fly around like he did last year. But even then, he did kind of get exposed last year in the middle of the field, and I think
Hmm.
that's just not a Roquan thing. I think that's just most of the middle linebackers in the league. You know, uh, where they're on the island, and a lot of quarterbacks look for that. They have that saying like uh, a tight end is a QB's best friend because that's one of the first readings in the middle of the field. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think there's a place for run stopping linebackers. I think in the next 10 years, 5, 10 years, you're going to see everybody trying to uh, run the ball now because I think it's just too many mistakes I see. We see with the Colorados and the South Carolinas where people get pass happy and they play themselves out the game. So I think they're gonna running a line, run stopping linebackers is gonna be relevant again.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Big Joe, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with the brothers. With Coach and what JB was saying that yeah, that the typical run stopping linebackers are getting phased out. We grew up on guys like a Zach Thomas or a Junior Seau or Mike Singletary or even like a Ray Lewis type. Ray Lewis when early on in his career he could run all day. Then later on he became like almost like a run stopping linebacker. But yeah, the game has evolved now to where like the bulky run stopping linebackers are turned into like you say like your Fred Warners. Hell, we still got Bobby Wagner in the league. He got 12 tackles today. So he's still out there. He considered an older dinosaur type of linebacker. He could cover too, and he could stop the run as well. But he's not built like Fred Warner. For a
Exactly.
while it was who's the best linebacker, Fred Warner or Fred or Bobby Wagner. But
Hmm.
I noticed the game was changing when you brought in a guy like Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis he was swole, but he could run all day long. He
Hey.
could
Hmm.
cover, he could blitz. When you had that kind of linebacker come in there, that's when you knew the game was changing. So as teams don't value
Navarro
running back,
Bowman.
yeah, Zach Navarro Bowman, guys like that. When teams start valuing their running backs, you don't need a blocking linebacker no more. You need somebody who can cover his space. And there's no such thing as a two down linebacker. You need you a three, four down linebacker. So what I mean, you're gonna need you a Fred Warner on your team if you want to compete and win a Super Bowl. So I don't think they're not phasing them out. This is just the evolution of football just changing. I remember at one point everybody was doing the Wildcat. So so now nobody do the Wildcat no more. So it's just one of those things. But back in the day, you had somebody like Mike Allstott coming down the hill. You better get you a Zach Thomas on your team to meet him in the middle. You know what I mean? So now you don't have those big Mike Allstott running backs like that. The biggest one is the brother King Henry, and he don't even lower his pass. He runs straight up like Eric Dickerson.
Hmm.
So they're not, they're just as the game evolves, teams are gonna get players to match today's NFL. Today's NFL, they throw the ball all the time. So you're gonna need somebody who can go from sideline to sideline, So um but yeah, the best linebacker in the league right now is Fred Warner. And that boy has a hit stick. He can hit and cover. So, he ain't shy on the run. That boy can hit. He lit up somebody in the game on Thursday. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, he still got it. So but yeah, no, I think the game just evolving with a pass happy league. So you better get your running back that can. Sorry, you need to get your linebacker that can cover in Isaiah Likely type of tight end who can run like a wide receiver. You're gonna need to get you somebody like that who can cover. So Fred Warner can cover in Isaiah Likely. Fred Warner can cover the running back. Hell, Fred Warner can even cover a slot wide receiver if he needs to be. That's the kind of running back you need in today's game. A player like a Zach Thomas, a player like a Channing Crowder, they will struggle in today's NFL because, you know, you need to be a little lighter and be able to go more sideline to sideline.
Or Levon Kirkland.
Lavon Kirkland, yep.
Oh no, I ain't gonna
Hmm.
lie. He was definitely struggling in the days game because I mean he was what 265, 266.
Hmm.
I mean he was huge. I mean he was a beast for that day. But I mean I think with today's day and age, with I think Joe was saying, you need to be able to run sideline to sideline. Somebody like an Ian Gold, I think he would thrive in today's game, or maybe even somebody like a DJ Williams, where you could just run from sideline to sideline. I think more so Ian Gold. Ian Gold was extremely fast and
Or
light on his
Gary
feet.
Brackett.
Yeah,
Yeah. Another linebacker that nobody talks about who was struggling today is Dat Nguyen. Dat Nguyen played for the Cowboys. He was a run stopping linebacker. He was struggling today in the NFL
Oh
right
heck
now.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, big time.
So when Shannon Sharp was playing, he was killing them fools when he was a tight end. He was playing the slot too. Who was going to cover him? No running back. I mean, no linebacker was going to cover him. He needed a safety.
Yeah, he was a
So
mismatch nightmare. Yeah.
yeah, all day long.
And
Okay.
that's why you see us, Jerry, if you notice, we bring down Hamilton in the middle of the field.
Kyle
You
Hamilton,
know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Yeah. So he's kind of like that sub linebacker. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
To help roll out. You know what I'm saying?
They can cover the middle of the field. So yeah, yeah. So what you're gonna start seeing, what you seeing that now. What I'm talking about is a lot of the college players that play safety, but they're a little bit too heavy. So they've been like meaning like if they were 6'4", or 6'3", even 6'2", or 6'1", they play safety, but they're like 212 pounds, even 200 pounds. A lot of these defensive coordinators are going to turn them to linebackers.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, Pete Warner. I mean, man,
Hmm.
ain't no way Pete Warner would have been able to play in the NFL like 10, 15 years ago because he too light in the cakes. I mean, when he need to get in the box and just run, stop the run, like teams literally just run right at Pete Warner because he's so undersized. But when you throwing the ball, I mean, he not all that great coverage to be honest with you, but he make enough plays out in space to where you could kind of justify it, you know what I'm saying? So, he get a strip here, cause the fumble there, strip a tight end here. So, you could justify it. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think basically he one of these out of necessity type players. I mean, I don't think he real great at one good thing, but he's undersized and he can run from sideline to sideline. So that's why the Saints have somebody like him on the roster.
Like,
Facts, man.
like perfect example, like a guy like a Cam Chancellor. Today he will be a linebacker.
Yes, good
You know,
example.
but so like Cam Chancellor, but like luckily he had Fred Warner on his team, so he need to come down. He can do what he do. But who's the best comparable to Fred to Cam Chancellor is Fred Warner. So that's a sum it all up right there.
Yeah. Look at Isaiah Simmons. He's supposed to be a safety, but like the scheme that he's ended up covering the middle of the field like a linebacker. So yeah, good point, fellas. Good point. All right, we gonna go ahead and cover the NFL games that's been going on. Big Joe, you feel like doing a recap?
Oh, I got you, cuz. All right, here we go. This is the Southern Ballers NFL recap. Yeah, I mean, so we're gonna slide on back to
Yes, sir.
Thursday.
Yes, sir.
We had the 49ers go against the Seahawks. We was gonna see what the 49ers gonna do. You ain't got no McCaffrey. We were gonna see is Brandon Ayuk finally gonna connect with his quarterback. And they actually did. 49ers showed up and Geno Smith and the Seahawks struggled with the 49ers winning 36-24. The Niners needed that win because they lost two straight in the NFC West. So they needed that win and they beat the Seahawks. That's a good win for the 49ers. We had the Steelers play the Raiders. A lot of folks would think that Russell Wilson going to start. They still gave him the young blood Justin Fields. And the Raiders is hot garbage right now. So the Steelers win 32-13. The Raiders don't have a quarterback. They having issues with the organization. Is Devontae Adams gonna stay? Is he leaving? All these distractions is why they ain't winning. Again, Steelers win 32-13, and the Steelers keep on going. The Chargers and the Broncos play. Harbaugh supposedly had an incident on the sideline to where he got sick. He had to go into the locker room. He came back out. Good thing he's okay. The Chargers winning 23-16 in a must needed win. The Broncos got Bo Nix as their quarterback. Bo Nix. They at one point they were losing 20-0. Bo Nix kind of rolled them back to where they could have a chance to do an onside kick, but it just wasn't enough. So the Chargers and the Broncos win. The Chargers beat the Broncos 23-16. And then we have the Colts and Titans. My man AR, he ain't playing. I heard he third string quarterback now. You bring in the OG. Some call him Joe Flacco. The Ravens, y'all call him Joe Flacco. He won 20-17. You had Will Levis, the Titans quarterback, even though he has a mayonnaise commercial, he could not whip a miracle together for the Titans to win. So Joe Flacco go into Tennessee and beat them 20-17 for the Colts to still stay alive in a division. And then we have the Buccaneers and the Saints. See, now I know why Coach wasn't getting so happy early in the year on the Saints, because the Saints going to do what the Saints going to do. That's what Coach told me. So we have the Broncos beat the Saints 51-27. It was a competitive game early. It looked like the Saints.
Golly.
It looked like the Saints might do something. They got a rookie quarterback and Rattler from South Carolina. We thought that he probably could do a little something, but they showed him why they showed him like, hey, you still a rookie. We do this here. 51-24, the Buccaneers beat the Saints, and the Saints are still trying to find answers of how they're gonna keep the season going. And then we had the Cardinals and the Packers. The Packers beat the Cardinals 34-13. Jordan Love doing this thing, and then the Cardinals and Kyler Murray, they're just one of them organizations that just cannot get over the hump. Supposedly Harrison got hurt. He stood up and then he like collapsed on the floor or whatever. I don't know if he has a concussion, but it looked like the rookie phenom wide receiver Harrison, he's hurt. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but we'll see. But the Cardinals are just one of them organizations who cannot put it together. So shout out to the Packers for getting that win, 34-13. Then we have the Eagles and Browns. The Eagles beat the Browns 20-16 in a very close game. That Browns had an opportunity to win this game, but they got down to the 5-yard line, and then you had two You had two false starts on the offense and kicked the field goal, and then just never got the ball back. And the Eagles just commanded the ball late down later in the game to win. So the Eagles win 20-16, and the Browns still losing. The head coach says, "I'm keeping Deshaun Watson as my quarterback. I'm not swapping him out." Well, Deshaun Watson is still finding answers, and obviously some folks say it's off the field issues is messing with his mind, but it seemed like the bigger issue is the organization has no camaraderie and no chemistry. So that's why they lose it. Because they didn't know if the wide receiver, if he was gonna leave number two, I forgot his name, his brother's name. He played for the Cowboys. What's his name? Anyways, they know that if he was gonna leave or not, but he decided to stay with the Browns, but still they lose in 2016. Go Eagles. And then you have the Texans going against the Patriots. They started the young boy Drake May. I guess they said Jacoby Brissett, you just ain't making it happen. We're gonna put young blood in there and still get the same result. The Texans beat the Patriots 41-21. The Texans they're looking like they're getting ready to get situated for for a playoff push. You know what I mean? So if they keep on winning games, even though you're supposed to beat the Patriots, this is a game that you need to win to build up chemistry later on. So shout out to the Texans and the young blood quarterback. 41-21, the Texans win. And then also we have the Jaguars versus the Bears. The Jaguars, again, another one of them organizations that just cannot get over the hump. They ain't been good since Fred Taylor was holding the rock. So the Bears beat the Jaguars 35-16. So a lot of folks are saying, "Hey, Trevor Lawrence, hey, is you worth all that money we paying you?" Because they always like to say, "Is Dak worth the money? Why are you paying Dak Prescott? Why are you paying Trevor Lawrence?" Because he can't get y'all over the hump. You get Caleb Williams who come in here, and they beat y'all in London 35-16. So we're gonna see what the Jaguars is gonna do. And then we have the home team, the Baltimore Ravens. They beat the Washington Commanders 30-23. Great game by Lamar Jackson. Great game by Jane Daniels. This was a game to see. You had the old vet and Lamar Jackson going against the young rook, the young phenom, and Jane Daniels. So they both played a good game. This came down to turnovers. They came down to field position. Those came down to Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. So shout out to the Ravens for getting that victory, a much-needed win. A lot of folks is questioning what they going to do, how they going to do it. But right now, just take it week by week. So shout out to Ravens for beating a hot young team, the Washington Commanders 30-23. And then we have games on right now. We have your Detroit Lions dog walking the Cowboys right now, 47-9, to the point to where they put the second team in and the start of the fourth quarter. Lord have mercy. The Cowboys, as Denny Green said, that we are who they thought they were. And when you don't want to sign Derrick Henry because you think he needs too much, when you don't bring in nobody else because you got what you need, you get beat by a team who was in the NFC Championship game last year, and I think should have won and went forward. And the Lions beat you at Jerry's World 47-9. It's 2 minutes left to go in that game, and then we got some football tonight. Tonight we have the Bengals going against the Giants. Now both teams are struggling. The Bengals are 1-4. The Giants are 2-3. We gonna see now. A lot of folks are saying this Joe Burrow, that dude. Everybody's saying he's getting too much credit for what he did in one season. And the Giants, they just came off beating the Seahawks. When they had where the Seahawks should have beat them, but they gave Daniels all that money. They get the Sunday night spotlight tonight. So against the Bengals and Giants tonight, I got the Bengals in that one, but we gonna see. If the Bengals lose to the Giants, you better press the abort button because it's gonna be 1-2-3 Cancun in week 6. And then tomorrow we have the Bills going against the Jets. The Jets 5-day head coach. A lot of folks weren't feeling that. A lot of folks were surprised about that. He's a very beloved coach in the organization. The fact that he didn't get a chance to talk to his team was a dirty move. So we're going to see, can the Jets rally behind their former head coach and beat the Bills? But I don't think that's going to happen because the Bills right now, even though Josh Allen don't have a number one wide receiver, everybody said, is he going to miss Stephon Diggs? And the answer is yes, he going to miss Stephon Diggs. You can't do everything, but when you play against the Jets, you can do whatever you want because they pretty much don't have the chemistry now that they did before. So I think the Bills are gonna beat the Jets. Jared, back to you.
Awesome recap. Awesome recap by the great Big Joseph Townsend.
Hey, fellas, hey, I'm about to hop off real quick. I appreciate y'all. If y'all want to know my thoughts on the Saints later on tonight, I'm going to give y'all a post-game recap. I'll catch y'all on the rebound. Y'all come check out the channel. Y'all have a blessed, phenomenal evening. Peace and blessings to everybody.
All
All right,
right, peace,
coach.
coach.
Peace.
Yeah, man, I agree with you, Big Joe. I don't think I disagree with just firing their coach. Obviously, the issue wasn't with the coach; it was with the talent, in my opinion. Um, but
Aaron
yes,
Rodgers.
yeah. But yeah, I still got the Bills on beating them, and then with the Bengals and Giants, we definitely gonna see if that Bengals and high power offense with Joe Burrow is the real deal against the Giants later on tonight. But we gonna go ahead and wrap it up unless we have any thing we want to share, JB or Big Joe.
I think we did a damn good job covering everything.
Well, I will say to all the Cowboy fans out there, you can't call yourself America's team if you always losing in America. Back to you, Jared.
Oh, yeah, that's 100. Yeah, cause y'all got the brakes though beat off y'all, man. But yeah, man, this was another installment of the Southern Baller Show. JB, thank you for always supporting me behind closed doors. And Big Joe, let people know where they can meet you and see you.
Yes, sir. You can catch me right here on the Southern Baller Show every Sunday or whenever we go live. You can catch me on all LWC platforms, supporting the brothers and sisters and all their endeavors. And ladies and gentlemen, when you fire a head coach, it is imperative that he at least address his team before he leaves. It was definitely what in the word thing they smelled asinine as a 10 to fire your coach and then you have to escort him out the building like a criminal. That's highly disgusting because he wasn't a criminal when he was coaching the team in the offseason. He wasn't a criminal when he was coaching the team in training camp. He wasn't a criminal when he got you them couple wins that you got. But all of a sudden, in your decision, you have to escort him out there like he done done something wrong. When you have a leader of a team, the whether it's high school, college, or NFL, the team believe in that coach, whether he's a figure or not, they believe in him. The players look up to him. They buy into his word. They buy into his philosophy. So he should at least have the respect and dignity to face the men that he has coached throughout all this time. Players he's even drafted. Sauce Gardner was hurt. That he didn't get a chance to talk to him or whatever. So again, it was a cold blooded move because in college, my first year of college, when my coach got fired, we had a team meeting. He addressed the team. We talked to all our position coaches because normally when you fire the head coach, everybody get fired. So Salah got fired this offseason, everybody gone. So kids gonna be out of school, wives and everybody gonna have to move houses. It's a big deal when you fire a coach. So just to escort them out of the building like that, it shows you why the Jets has always been a trash organization.
Facts. Facts, man. And want to show everybody love that came and support, man. Jay Barr, Brent Fox. Appreciate y'all, man. And all the other brothers, man, and sisters who listen. But again, this was another installment of the Southern Baller Show. Y'all have a blessed day.